Hey, welcome to Positive Impact for Mind and Body. I'm Nicole Fevrier Davis, your psychic trainer, and I wanted to chat with you today about Valentine's is coming up. I want to just check out my snazzy leggings. Woohoo! I got little cherubs all over me. Um, what I find a lot of people tend to forget is that their mind-body connection happens all the time. And it happens 24/7 in every second of every day. And we tend to forget that unless we're in yoga. And you too can start to really strengthen your relationships in your own mind and body, or your body-mind, as I like to say, by doing certain exercises, not just yoga. So if you're not a yogi, don't feel uncomfortable. You'll still get a lot of benefits from this, and you will have a nice set of exercises, not just to strengthen relationships, but also physically strengthen and stretch your own body. So one of the things that I love to talk to people about is just getting in touch with their body. So, and forgive the leggings. I want to bring leggings back. Woohoo! Only because I freeze in the winter when I train people outside. So the first thing I want you to do is just sit comfortably, even probably without the sneakers. I just came in from a run. So shoulders down and back. You're going to inhale and exhale. And like in the body scan, the free download that you get when you text body-mind to 33777, you're going to just allow yourself to sink your mind down into your pelvis. That's the second chakra. That's the location of personal relationships. So if you're experiencing any pain or tension in the lower back or your abdomen, or you're experiencing hip issues, or you have a problem with your hip flexors, some people even feel it in the psoas, and the psoas is a connective muscle from the spinal column all the way down to the inner thigh. Inner thigh issues tend to also relate to relationship issues. So this whole pelvic area, including your hips and your inner thighs, relates specifically to relationships. And although I have been certified in yoga many, many years ago, I don't necessarily utilize those exercises all the time to strengthen or stretch. But what I love to do is inner thigh exercises in addition to, and you'll see this a lot when people are talking about working out the second chakra or the lower abdominal wall. So if you have a lot of bloat in the lower abdominal wall and you feel like certain foods irritate that area, that could also mean that you're withholding information, or you're overreacting, you're over emotional to certain stimuli in your relationship. So that's just another little aside. But what we try to do, like whenever I train someone about these things, I try to integrate the mind, what you're thinking in relationships, like I'm not being heard, I don't feel understood, or I'm not feeling supported. Integrate that thought and speak the truth to it, and then perform a physical exercise, right? So any lower abdominal exercise will work. And very often I have been known to kind of like substitute one thing for another in order to get a better range of motion in the exercise. So just keep that in mind. You can do any, and you can imagine, this is very popular in yoga as well, just hip raises. You could do, and then squeeze the inner thighs together, open, exhale hard, contract the abs as you lower down. Or you could do it even slower, and you could do the reverse of a Pilates roll-up, right? So your arms are down by your sides. You're going to exhale hard, tilt the pelvis, and peel the spine up one vertebra at a time to the backs of the shoulders. Inhale here, exhale, and then roll back down. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing you could do is just work lower body. Okay, so extend the arms out to the side. Inhale here, exhale, drop down to one side. Inhale, exhale up, and then reverse the other side. I don't have a whole lot of room with the mirror in the way, but those are wonderful exercises for strengthening. And I would say for beginners, keep your knees bent. So it would just be knee drops from side to side. Inhale here, exhale, lift. Inhale here, exhale, lift. And just begin to explore your own lower body abdominal strength. In that process, I want you to think about your relationships. And a lot of people assume that when we talk about relationships, I'm just speaking only of the significant relationship. No, you can have hip problems if you had a bad, or not, I don't want to say bad because that's like a negative qualifier, but if you've had difficulty in like your relationship with your mother, let's say, for instance, growing up, okay, more than likely you might have residual hip pain as a result of that. Maybe she put conditions on how to love her and vice versa. So you may have additional pain and soreness in the left shoulder. And this is, after years and years of study of people like Louise Hay and the chakra system and how energy runs through the body and from the perspective of a Reiki practitioner, this is how we all work. We all function this way. I will say left-handed people can go both ways. So they can receive energy on the left and push it out on the right and vice versa. But that being said, the left side of the body in general relates to, female relationships. The right side of the body relates to male relationships. So it depends if you're having a lot of problems with the right hip, the right shoulder, or maybe it's just either or, the right hip and the left shoulder. Maybe there's an issue also with taking energy in. So when you look at the energetic system of the body, we usually take energy in through the left, and I'm saying it backwards because I'm facing you, I think. So you take energy in on the left, whichever left you are there, and then you send energy out on the right. So that could be a different part or part of the puzzle of your relationship imbalance, is that maybe you put too many conditions on how you receive and give love and vice versa. Or you're feeling the pushback of that person having qualifiers or conditions on how to receive and give love. In any case, when you do these types of exercises and you're deliberately stretching the sacrum, and a great way to stretch not just the sacrum, but the piriformis, which is the connective muscle between the thigh and the mid sacrum, that can get very, very, very tight if you're feeling out of control in relationships. Okay, these are all the things that I've come to kind of recognize in my own clients over a period of 30 years I've been doing this. So piriformis stretch, you're going to take one ankle on the thigh of the other ankle. So that puts this femur in a position to then stretch. So you're going to grab behind the other thigh, pull this in towards your chest, and feel that deep stretch in the piriformis and the glutes on that side. In traditional sense, you might not think that has anything to do with relationships, but it has everything to do with relationships. It is very specific to relationships. So if you're, like I said, if you're feeling a little out of control or you'd like to have more control in relationships, you may want to practice that while you breathe and think about how easily it is to flow in relationships when you're a little more flexible in your mind and attitude. Okay. So if any of this is making sense to you, please, feel free to type in the comments and I'll respond in a little bit. The other thing that I find interesting about people who are in love is that they have a natural ability to feel flexibility in the sacrum and the pelvic girdle. So if you were to tilt the pelvis, forgive me, and my little cherubs, squeezing the gluteus, you could tilt the pelvis under and release, under and release. This, in and of itself, is also working the second chakra in relationships. And it's a great way to not just strengthen the gluteals, but also stretch the hip flexors, which get very, very tight if you're seated all the time. So some may say, oh, my hip flexors are tight because I'm seated all the time. But that's just one aspect of your energy and how you're set up in relationships. So that may become even more exaggerated or magnified if your relationships aren't going that great, or you feel like you need way too much control moving forward in the relationship. So, and the biggest thing about this is that sometimes you need a professional to point that out to you. Sometimes you don't even realize you need that much control in relationships. But the alternate is also true. So if the lower back is feeling tight, maybe you felt you didn't have enough control in relationships in the past. So the back of your body represents past issues, and not just relationships. It relates to everything. How you viewed every loving relationship, how you view your self-confidence behind the third chakra, how you used to communicate behind the throat chakra. These are all things that people kind of ignore on a day-to-day basis, or they don't know about them, but they're really important to know because they can help you be a better lover, be a better communicator, be better in presenting your personal will and communicating that effectively to someone else. It affects everything, and it's so vitally important. This is why yoga has been around for over 3,000 years, right? Because it has been so effective in helping people really get clear about what they need to work on, but also get stronger in those relationships and stronger with their partners, as well as kids. Even kids, you got to think about that's a relationship too. So take a little scan of your body right now. If you've ever had any hip issues or shoulder issues or knee issues, just type in the chat. My left knee's always bothered me. And then let's take that as an example. If your left knee has always bothered you, right? Then you want to look at the ages between 10 and 15, 16, and evaluate the relationship you had with your mother at that time. And a lot of times, people don't understand this either. We grow up through our bodies. So our infancy is represented in our feet, then toddlerhood through the shins and calves, then we grow into the teens in our thighs, and then we start to really combine all the information that we learn from the parental relationships in our hips and our sacrum. And that's when all that energy comes together and starts to build a network of energy in the sacrum and in the pelvis that can either support and strengthen relationships, or it starts to break down because everything that you learned from your parents growing up wasn't really the truth that you needed to hear about relationships. So maybe you go into your first or second serious relationship in your teens and 20s and have severe lower back issues, or have a real problem with your left hip popping in and out, or whatever it is. Those are the things that start to set up in the body early on and are easily detectable. Certain things that happen in relationships through the parental family unit that may not affect you right away in your teens and 20s, but they come out later in life, and that can be anything from codependency issues to not really having the respect that you'd hope for in those relationships. That can come out later. But it depends on your personality, again, and it depends on how you perceive things, your belief system, your emotions, and what you are willing to change to make it better. Bar none, the best way to figure out if you should be changing something is that physical barometer. And like I said, with the Be a Body Psychic workshop, the webinar that I'm doing, that's what we learn. We learn what parts of the body represent what, and what our subconscious mind is telling us inside the body, so that we can then identify it. And then we have power, right? Then we can change it if we want to. And I will say, if you are not in a position to want to change who you are, if you think you're perfect the way you are, first of all, I don't believe you'd be watching this right now if you thought you were perfect the way you are. We all know we need a little something, right? The best people we know that are saints on earth, we're acknowledging that, oh, I need to ground myself, or I need to, have clarity in my sentences when I speak out loud, or I need to be able to create this, whatever it is, this business or this piece of artwork, and I need to work on this technique or that. We all have something we're working on, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So getting professional help is a big part of seeing yourself objectively and being able to say, open up and say, I'd like to work on this. That's why I created Be a Body Psychic. That's why I gave you all the free download for the body scan, so that you can start to honestly and objectively evaluate what's going on in your mind and body, that you can maybe move along, maybe mature it a little bit, or change entirely, go in a different direction if it's not really serving you. That's the whole purpose, point and purpose of the body scan and Be a Body Psychic. But at the same time, I think it's, kind of interesting that we can also focus in on the things that maybe we can't control. In other words, maybe we can't control someone else's responses to us, right? We're madly in love, but we can't always control their responses to us. Do then we want to change in order to make that response not important anymore? Or do we have that open dialogue with someone else saying, I need something else, or I need to communicate in a way that's more effective than we have been? These are all things that tend to come up when we do like the Be a Body Psychic webinar, but then they're easily resolved because then you can write out a dialogue that makes sense for the two of you. And I'm just bringing all this up right now simply because it is Valentine's, and I wanted to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. I am very excited that we started the Be a Body Psychic webinar. You can join in at any time, and feel free to PM me if you have any more questions. But again, text body-mind to 33777, and you get the free body scan download. And this is I always say this is the foundation to more and deeper understanding of who you are and what makes you tick. I think that is crucial to any successful goal attainment, because like I said, I've been in this business for a long time, and I worked with a lot of people on every diet imaginable. Ironically, a lot of it is the same thing, just regurgitated in a different form that looks more attractive than the last one. So just be mindful of that as well. But what I've found time and time again is that if we don't address the underlying subconscious issues, then the diet's not going to work. The life coaching isn't going to work. The lessons in emotional stability aren't going to work, because emotional stability happens when we come to peace about what's going on inside of us, and we can address the subconscious things. Usually when people talk about mindset, emotional stability, they're thinking about things that they can control consciously, not the subconscious mind. So we have to dig a little deeper. We have to allow the body to inform us in order that we can find the thing that we are actually being controlled by, and then take the steps to change it. So that's all for now. I just wanted to share that with you, especially just before Valentine's Day. Again, if you are interested in Be a Body Psychic webinar, you can still get the workbook and the CD for free if you sign up for it by tomorrow midnight, Friday the 12th. You can go to my website, mindbodymastery.org, and go to the Body Psychic page so you can get a little more information. And there's a sign-up sheet there, ways to pay for the webinar. Once you're fully paid and the address is in the notes, then I can send you the workbook and the CD for free. So that's what I'm hoping I get a chance to do for you and your journey in your mind and body. So I'm going to put this in the chat. Like I said, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And you can always follow me at Nicole's MBM at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Here we go. It would be good if I had this prepped beforehand. Sorry, guys. That's my website. And this is the textable you can do. And like I said, it's still a good time because You can get the workbook and CD for free still. So today was rather interesting. I also have an interesting painting I'm going to show you next week that I did about passion, and I forgot to bring it down here. But you can see the paintings behind me. I started out as an artist, and so that's a part of it too. If you want to create your own treasure map, I also include mirrors in my treasure maps when I make them for people. That helps them see themselves in their own treasure. I hope you see yourself in your own treasure. Be good to your mind and body. Enjoy and have a fantastic Valentine's Day.